Hello everyone, good morning. We are Chad and Ashley and this is ouRVan back for another AT through hiking video. We're at a cool spot here in Waynesboro, Virginia. And it's cool because there's this little park. We're actually in town, we're not on the trail right now. There's houses back here behind us. And there's this big grassy field funded by the Appalachian Trail Long Distance Hikers Association. I guess that's one of the trail clubs, and it's for AT through hikers only. So this whole park in town is just for through hiker camping. There's just like a little pavilion, there's a solar charging station, a trash can, there's porta potties over there. And we stayed here last night.
And there's even free showers at a YMCA. It's just a half-mile.
Yes, we're gonna walk over there right now to see if we can grab a free shower. But very cool. This town is very hiker friendly. We got an easy hitch into town. It was just a couple miles out to the trail, and yeah, great little spot, bunch of restaurants, good town. Had a good night here last night, and we are just about to start Shenandoah National Park. That's the next part of trail we're about to get to here. So very exciting. Once we get back on trail a little later today, it's just about 1 mile to the start of Shenandoah. I think there's some kind of like free permit we need to get, so we're gonna grab a free permit around the entrance, and then we're gonna get going into the second national park of this. It's gonna be exciting. Hopefully there's some cool stuff to see in Shenandoah, and let's get going.
Alright, so our shower was a success. It was free, it was a good shower, and we got a hitch back to the trail, and shortly after we got dropped back off, we made it to where you sign up to do your permit for Shenandoah. So
wow.
This one's a little different from the Smokies. You don't have to go online, you don't have to print anything. It's all right here in this box. You just sign it, strap the paper to your backpack, and drop it off at the end. So it's official, we're here, we made it.
When you get in, you just grab your permit out of this box and fill it out. Nice and easy. Now let's get going into Shenandoah National Park. We're about 5 miles into Shenandoah now, and the first things we notice are it is extremely green. Really just looks like summer now, and second, it also feels like summer. It's extremely hot. I think we're looking at weather in the 80s pretty much all week. Sunny, no rain in the forecast, at least for the first half of the time we're in Shenandoah, if not the whole time. I think part of the trail's supposed to be near a river, but I don't see that yet, so we'll see if that's true later on. And also, and one of the biggest problems is, at least right here in the beginning of the park, there's not a lot of water sources. The first water is like 7 or 8 miles into the park. It's all the way at the first shelter, and then the next water after that is another 10 miles at the following shelter. So big water carries just means we got to fill up everything we have that could hold water and carry a lot of extra weight up these hills. So that's a little frustrating. A lot of climbs. I've heard Shenandoah is supposed to be an easy section. I don't know an exact length yet. I'll get that to you later, but the whole park ends up being a little over 100 miles of the Appalachian Trail. So it's a big part, and I've heard it's an easy section. Not so much yet. We'll see if that changes up ahead. Here's the first real view we've gotten in the park. This is a Little Calf Mountain. And it looks like there's even a little stealth campsite up here. First wildlife of the Shenandoahs. Big black snake. Now we've seen a bunch of these before, but this is just the first one in the park here. But ever since it's gotten warmer out, we've been seeing a bunch of these guys. This thing is long. That's got to be a 4 or 5 foot long snake. All the way into the trail. Yeah, good job. Get out of the trail. Keep moving. So if you remember when we were back in the Smokies, there was a rule about camping where you could only camp at the shelters, or there was like one designated campsite that wasn't a shelter. But in the Shenandoahs here, it's a little different. There are still shelters that you could stay at, pretty evenly spaced all the way through here, and I think most people do stay at those. But you are also allowed to stealth camp basically anywhere in the park as long as you follow a certain set of restrictions, which is basically just camping certain distances away from certain things. Like, I think it's 10 yards away from a river, or 20 yards from something else, like 50 yards from a dirt road, and then the big one is 1/4 mile from any paved road. And there's a big one, Skyline Drive, that runs through most of the park. So that one's going to be the biggest obstacle, staying 1/4 mile away from that Skyline Drive. But it is possible in a bunch of places, and we're actually looking for one of those stealth spots tonight. We passed this last shelter. We wanted to go just a little bit farther. Next one's another 10 miles. We don't want to go that far. So we're going to end up somewhere in between, about 10 to 12 miles into the park, roughly. So we're looking for that spot now, and we'll show you when we find it. Well, we found a nice little campsite here. It is probably just a little over 20 yards off any designated trail, which is also a requirement, and we're at least 60 feet away from the AT here. A lot of the campsites look like they've got little side trails like this, where you kind of got to walk all the way back over to the trail, instead of just in a lot of places there's spots that are right on trail. Like, for example, this spot right here, if we had stayed on that little pad behind me, it would have been basically right on the trail here. But our spot ends up being way back there in the trees, if you can see it down this little side path. Looks like a nice campsite. I'm pretty happy with it, and we're going to spend the night. We're going to hang a bear bag over, can't really see it, but it's in the trees over there, because I've heard there are a lot of bears in the Shenandoah National Park. So, definitely going to hang the bear bag tonight, and I guess we'll catch up with you guys in the morning. Day 77, about 20 miles into the park now. And if we didn't mention it yet, one thing we heard about Shenandoah was there are a lot of restaurants. Like restaurants in like Wayside, I think they're called Wayside stores. And I think we're going to see the first one of them today. They're spaced about, I want to say, every 20-ish miles. There happen to be two in like the next 15 miles. But on average, they're like 20-something miles apart. And they're good for quick resupplies. And some of them have restaurants. I don't think a lot of the restaurants are open this year. I think that's still a COVID thing. But hopefully we can get some good snacks. And yeah, a little bit of a resupply if we need it. So we'll show you that store when we get there, and hopefully see some great views today. We got a big mile marker coming up ahead here. It's another one of the hundreds. We are going to hit the 900 mile mark. Not as cool as 1,000, cooler than 800. It's going to be a good one. It's just a couple miles up ahead here. And then I think we're going to grab the shelter for tonight. I'm not sure the name of the shelter, but I'll put it down below when we get there. And I think that's about 7 miles past the 900. And then we're going to be at another Wayside store tomorrow. I actually forgot to film the one earlier today, but it was pretty cool. It was a really good resupply. And had some like microwavable food. Had lunch there. Awesome stop. And we're really excited now that there are a bunch of those in Shenandoah, because it's going to make it really convenient to not have to carry as much food since we can resupply there. There it is, 9 hundo. Buddy, congratulations on your last day hiking. Day 79. At about the halfway point in the park, there is a campground and lodge called Big Meadows Campground and Big Meadows Lodge. And they got a restaurant, campground there. It's one of the paid campgrounds in the park. I believe tent sites are $15 a night, and you can put multiple tents on it. But unfortunately, those were all full, so we grabbed a hotel room for the night. We're back with our group. It's 10 people, so we stuffed all 10 of us into one room. It was tight, but very fun time. We got dinner and breakfast at the lodge, and we are back on trail today. We would definitely recommend stopping there while you're walking through Shenandoah. It's worth the stop. And we got a couple easy days coming up. I think we're doing 14 today. We're going to get up to the next shelter down. Don't remember the name, but I will put it down below when we get there. The park has been a lot of fun so far. Good warm weather. No rain our entire time here yet, and we've done about 60 miles of the park so far. Very nice, very green. Some good views on top of the mountains. We'll make sure to show you all the views we see. And yeah, about halfway through. Should have, I think it's like 3 to 4 more days in the park. I think I've mentioned it once before, but if not, something really common about this park that other people say is that there's a bunch of bears in the area, and we have not seen a single bear yet on the AT, and I think we're about mile 925, and not one bear. A bunch of deer. We're starting to see a bunch of snakes now that the weather is warming up. They're kind of everywhere, and I've heard they will only get worse as far as more in quantity. And but no bears. Very surprisingly, no bears. So I'm very excited to see a bear. I'm hoping it happens at some point soon, but you never know. And when we see one, I will at least tell you about it, and I'm definitely going to try and get him on film. About 8 miles into the day, we're on mile 934. Got a restaurant coming up called the Skyland Resort. Gonna stop there, grab some lunch, and it's got another wayside store, another one of these great little stops in Shenandoah. Definitely show you that when we get there. Day 80. Got some rain and some fog today. As you can see, rain's not too bad yet. But if you saw those shots a second ago, we were up in the clouds this morning. We had some thick clouds, thick fog blowing through. It's clearing up slightly now. The rain hasn't been too bad. Slightly cooler today. I think the high is going to be 68 degrees, which is a welcome change. And just like the other days, we got another store coming up. We got a Wayside, 12 miles into the day, which is where we're planning to grab lunch. Should be there around 2 p.m. We're about 5 miles out right now. But yeah, take another shot of that one. The stores in Shenandoah have been really, really awesome. Still no bears, but lots of fun. Very humid, it's a little uncomfortable, but it is pretty, even though it's very wet.
So we have a little bit of very, very sad news to share with you guys. Buddy is no longer on trail with us. No. Buddy is okay. Buddy is safe and healthy, but things were getting a little rough out here for him. The weather's starting to get super warm, so he was pretty hot midday and kind of slowing down on trail. And another big thing was ticks. They're coming out now and they're everywhere, and every night I was picking at least 15 to 20 ticks off Buddy. He is treated with flea and tick medication, but so they were all mostly dead, but they were just so many, and they would end up in our tent, and it just wasn't good, and we felt super bad for him. So we were lucky enough to have Chad's brother, who lives in Virginia, come out to Shenandoah National Park and pick him up and take him home. It was a very sad moment. I cried, still crying. And I guess another big thing is snakes. We haven't seen, we've seen a bunch, but not venomous ones, but I hear coming up shortly that we're gonna see a lot more, and I didn't want to risk putting Buddy in that position and getting bit, especially out here when you have nowhere to go, so I couldn't take him anywhere to get him to the doctors. But anyways, so yeah, we said goodbye. Our group said goodbye. Our group is very upset as well, so we are gonna miss him, but it was nice having him out here for the time he was. And sorry we didn't get to film a goodbye for you guys. It was all very quick and sudden. It was a last minute decision, and it was very sad. So, but we're gonna keep hiking. Hopefully this motivates us to move a little faster so we can get back to our little guy at home.
Here is today's store and food stop. It's called Elk Wallow Wayside. And it's just about 0.1 off trail. Well, we are officially out of Shenandoah National Park. We stayed in a little town called Front Royal, just outside Shenandoah last night, after we walked past that last permit station. And that's where we're going to close out this video. Didn't see a bear. Expected to see bears in Shenandoah, but no bears.
Lots happened. It's a little bit, sorry for the mess. A lot of things were going on between getting rid of Buddy, losing our group, catching back up with our group.
And I know we didn't film as much as we could, so
I promise you that we actually didn't see that many great views, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a fun park and it's cool to be in it, but it's not that much more amazing than the rest of the trail. Still a fun section of trail, nice and easy. The stores were awesome.
That was the only good thing, I think. Or at least my favorite part.
The stores, the restaurants,
the
lodge.
stores, being able to go somewhere every day to eat was great.
Yeah. And I guess we'll catch up with you on the next one. See you next time.